Hi, this is Bob Ehlers of Hotspot Networks, and we're going to walk through very quickly the comprehensive HauteVIEW Evidence Case Manager transfer ecosystem and how our software will allow video from a camera to move into the cloud or into a storage array using our Evidence Case Manager system. On the right of this diagram, you can see we have our HauteVIEW camera, and there's three different options for how a HauteVIEW camera can dock in order to transfer its data at the end of a police shift. So I've worn the camera all day, I've recorded video throughout the day, and now I've come back to the police station and I want to be able to transfer the video onto my laptop or onto a storage system. And I'm going to do that using a number of different tools. Our most basic tool is using a single user dock like this, which is included with every single camera. Our HauteVIEW Cam Manager, which is our transfer software, which opens up the camera, unlocks the file system or the storage inside the camera, and allows the video to be viewed and edited using our HauteVIEW viewer, our HauteVIEW Evidence Case Manager, or HiveMinder for that matter. And that can all be running on a laptop or a desktop computer. And then the video can be transferred using Evidence Case Manager up to storage arrays or into the cloud. The other option for using the HauteVIEW body-worn camera would be to transfer in a vehicle. In this case, you would use Evidence Case Manager running on a micro NVR, one of our in-vehicle storage systems, in the vehicle, transferring over a wireless link to Evidence Case Manager and then back into a storage array. It can also go up into the cloud. The last scenario would be for the camera to go into one of our docking stations, either the HauteVIEW dock or the HauteVIEW Dock Mini, which would be an 8-port version of the HauteVIEW dock. And when you transfer into the camera or from the camera into the dock, it would then store it in the dock and then allow you to transfer it up into the cloud or other location using HauteVIEW Evidence Case Manager. We'll also talk about how HiveMinder, our VMS system, which runs on our Hive cameras, and which will ultimately run on the HauteVIEW 300 camera, allows you to do the same thing, transferring video back into the cloud or onto local storage. So we're going to walk through these different scenarios. Let's get started. Attached to my PC, I have a HauteVIEW 100 camera. And I'm going to put it into a dock that's attached to the USB port of my PC. You just heard that the camera has detected the connection to the PC. And now, as an end user, using the HauteVIEW Cam Manager, I can open up the camera. I simply say connect the device. I enter the password in order to be able to download the files off of the camera. So I'm going to enter the default password of 0000000. I hit login, and the first thing it does is my PC will then synchronize the time to the camera, and I say OK. So now I've got standard date and time. From Cam Manager, I can set the camera ID, I can set the officer ID, and I simply type those in here, and that will update the camera with the device ID and with the officer ID, and set that for use going forward. In order to log into Cam Manager, again, I put in a password that's typically going to be held by your system administrator. Could be a watch commander, could be your IT manager. It's up to each department to set the procedures for this. And then, of course, I can set the password for the camera here and click modify, and that would go ahead and update the camera with a new password. Otherwise, if all I want to do is get the video off the camera, I'll go ahead and click this button which says enter UDisk, and UDisk is the mode where the camera becomes accessible to the Windows operating system. And now it appears just like a USB drive to the camera. So now I can go ahead and open the camera, and I'm going to open it in Windows File Manager, Windows Explorer. And you can see that right here I've got drive, let's see, it's removable drive D. And you can see there's a standard file system on the camera. I'm looking into the disk on the camera. It gives me a log, which is the operation diary. I can double click on that log, and it'll show me when the camera was started and stopped and powered on and powered off, and what happened to the camera throughout the day. That log will be transferred during our file system. If I'm not using the camera, I can go in and I can look at File, 100 Record, and under that there's a number of different files that'll be stored. And I'm going to change into detail so you can see the file types. And every file has a name, and the name includes the camera ID, the officer ID, the date, time, and then sequence for that file. And then I'll have the file type. So a JPG would be a still image, an MP4 would be a video image, and a WAV would be an audio file. So I can have those different types of files stored on the camera. I can certainly go ahead and just copy all of these files to my local disk, put them on a file server, or put them wherever else IT tells me that I should put them, or I can open them using our HauteVIEW viewer. In HauteVIEW viewer, we'll detect the presence of the camera. It'll give me a list of all the different files that are on the camera at the time that I open it up. You can see that HauteVIEW viewer provides me a map. That map can be from a number of different sources. I can look at Google Earth. I can look at satellite imagery. I can change the view by going to Maps and picking a different mapping application. I can use Yandex. I can use Google Maps. I can use Open Maps. We're using Open Maps right now. And it's pulling from Bing. So that's the Microsoft mapping software. Below the map, I've got a list of all my files. I've got them sorted by date and time. You can see the date and time stamp is applied to them. Where GPS is available, I get a total trip time. I get my average miles per hour. I get the size of the file, and I get the resolution of the file. If I've marked the video with an event, I will get a little key which indicates that the video has been marked and is locked so that it can't be accidentally deleted. That would be an event, which might be evidence. I can click on that file and open it up. And you can see as soon as I clicked on it, the video file opens up. I get a chart which shows me my speed and the time, so I can track where I am. I have a compass. I have a speedometer. And you can see that the video is overlaid with the camera ID and the officer ID, as well as the date, time, and GPS coordinates of the video. I can go ahead and click play, and the video will begin playing. And we're going to start moving. You can see as the video is moving along, I can watch the video. I can see what my GPS coordinates are. I can see what my speed is. I can see my compass bearing and heading. I can see the time of day. Any of this video can be marked, and if I decide to insert a mark, I can then, if I want to start a mark, and then I can go to the end of the thing and I can say end a mark, and then I can go ahead and copy the area that is marked by saying save selected fragment, and that will take that segment of the video and export it to a MP4 file, which I can then view later on. I can stop the video at any point. I can continue to play it. I can fast forward. I can play it at 1/4 speed, slow motion. I can play it at half speed. I can play it at 4 times normal speed to fast forward. I can play it at 16 times normal speed to search. I can play it at 64 times normal speed. I can pause it. I can go back. And basically, I can look at the video in all different manners. If the video is ever corrupted, I can pick a file and I can have the application attempt to make a repair of the file. If I want to export the track of the video to Google Earth, I can export the track. I can look at the track. I can attach the track to the file if I have an external GPS data and I want to compare that to the video file I'm looking at. I can do that. And I can move the video position forward to a specific point in time. So again, I can completely manipulate all of the video at any point in time. I can zoom in and out. And so I can use the zoom command to say I want 400 times, 200 times zoom. I can zoom back out, and I can just simply say zoom. I can say go back out, zoom out, and that can be a control minus. And it will move the video back out. I can zoom in, zoom out. So there's lots of manipulations that the system allows me to do, and that would be HauteVIEW Viewer. HauteVIEW Transfer and HauteVIEW Viewer are included free with every camera that Hotspot provides. What if I want to be able to transfer the video using a docking station? Well, we can do that using HauteVIEW Dock. The HauteVIEW Dock system would be a kiosk, and in this case I have a computer which is designed specifically to have me enter and control the transfer of video using a docking command. So imagine that this is a PC with a touch screen. The user would come up, indicate whether he's an admin user or a standard user. So we'll be an admin user. I enter the password. In this case, the default is 1, 2, 3, and I say go. And what that does at this point is it would open the camera for transfer. I have multiple docking positions where the video would be, or where the camera would be connected. And again, in our dock system, I can have between 1 and 20 cameras simultaneously attached. Once I have a camera attached, this particular position would be turned blue. It would show that the video is being transferred, and once the video is transferred, it would turn green, indicating that all the video had been transferred. If I want to look at video that's been transferred, I can go ahead and do that. I can put in queries by user number or username. That would be my officer ID or my officer name. And if I search, you can see that here I've put in user number 654321. The officer is Joe Officer. I have his unit ID, which is his camera identifier, and I have video associated with each one of the files that he transferred into the dock. I can view those files, and there's an integrated player that allows me to look at each one of the files. I can listen to the sound, and again, this can all be done at a kiosk by an end user. The general purpose of the kiosk, again, is to monitor the transfer of the video and tell the user when it's okay to remove the camera from the dock. So our idea is that the cameras can be brought in, put into the dock, transfer overnight, charge their batteries, and then the officers would know that their camera is ready to go because it would be green in the connected dialog. So let's say now that I no longer am interested and I'm going to kill the kiosk application. simply because this kiosk application actually takes over control of the computer from the end users to prevent them from tampering with video or doing anything to uh, break the chain of custody. So I just had to go in to Task Manager and manually kill HauteVIEW Dock, which would normally be running in kiosk mode, and the users would never ever do that. So let's say that I have the dock, I've transferred the video, and now what I want to be able to do is aggregate the video and move it back to central repository. And that's where Hotspot Evidence Manager comes in. Hotspot Evidence Manager is actually made up of several different utilities. We have the Vault Manager, and the Vault is basically the way that I can set up storage at a facility. So in this case, I've gone ahead and I've set up a vault. A vault is a storage device where I want all of my video files stored. And within a vault, I can define disk drives, so I can have many different drives. I can define tape. I can define if the storage is a Blu-ray or some other media. And I can create those kinds of devices, and I can load and unload media into the computer on demand. So first I define a vault, and then within the vault, I will define a set of rules. And those rules basically define how I want the vault to be processed. And I can have data service rules that would define the vault location or the storage media in, say, a kiosk or another location. I can tell the vault when to run, what files in the file system to include for transfer. I can tell it where to transfer to, so that could be another computer locally, or it could be a system in the cloud. I can tell it when to do the transfer, and then I can have it even do things like pre-process and process the video. So that would be how I do data handling, and basically the migration of video from the local transfer dock up into the cloud or to other service. I can also set different policies of how I want the video to be handled during the transfer process. We call those target and process policies. And I can create the policies. We'll call this one create a proxy. Okay, and that's going to create a proxy file. And what it's going to do is it's going to move video. I'm going to tell it what video I want to process. So in this case, we're going to go into our source files. Let's say that those source files are stored on drive E under volume, and I can define wherever I want it to be. So we'll take performance logs for example. And I can say, what is the criteria? What files do I want to include or exclude in the processing? And then I can say, what do I want to do with it? Well, do I want to create a proxy file? And a proxy file is basically a searchable, compressed, small sample of the evidence-grade quality file that you've created with your camera. And so in most cases, we would create a medium-sized proxy file. We would want to create it at maybe a quarter of the frame rate. So if I shot at 30 frames per second, this would be about 8 frames per second. And I would save that video permanently on storage media that is spinning, so that when I put my video on long-term media like tape, I still have a searchable proxy file or a subset of the actual file that I'm going to be looking for that I can use to search through, find the evidence, and then bring it back from tape. I can also tell it to generate preview images of my photographs, and I can tell it to do things with the pictures as far as modifying the picture quality. I can tell it to do things with files as far as grouping them together. I can do meta tag processing, so I can say that video that is tagged as evidence is handled one way versus video that is not evidence. Once I do the processing, then I can tell it where to send the video, and that can be an upstream process. I can tell it how often I want this to run, and I can also have external programs called to be able to run against the video that I'm processing. So again, the whole idea of Evidence Case Manager is that I can process video, move it, store it, and basically pre-process it so that I can go and search it later on. As a police officer, I will never see anything that I just showed you. The only thing that you'll actually ever see is our Evidence Case Manager system. And this would be the user interface that a police officer would use. What does this do? Well, it basically will search all of the different locations where I may have files stored. And how would I do that? Well, I can say that I want to search by where the content contains the name Bob. And I can go out and I can do a search. And it came back with 11 files. And 11 files have the content named Bob, my name, on the files. So I can go ahead and recall the file. And the file will come back from storage. And I can view the file. I can play it, just like I would in the other player. But this time, instead of looking at the video at full resolution, I'm actually looking at that subset video. And that subset video is a representation of the actual evidence grade video that's stored on tape, but it doesn't take up as much space and it doesn't take as long for me to go access it. I can mark the video, and I can say that I want to mark from there to there. That creates a segment of video, and then I can say, okay, what do I want to do with that video? Well, I want to export it, and now I've marked that segment from 1 minute and 14 seconds, or from 18 seconds to 1 minute and 14 seconds as the video that I want to export from this file. When I'm done selecting the video that I want to export, I can mark it again, and mark it again, and I can say I want to export that. So now I have two different segments of the same file that I want to export because those are the things that are relevant. I may also want to indicate that something's going on at a particular point in the video. So right here at 45 seconds into the video, I may want to say speeding. And so I can create a new tag, and I can say speeding, and this is my speeding tag, and I can say, you know, suspect was traveling at 100 miles per hour, right? And so now I've created a new tag, I save it, and you can see that it's now added speeding as a evidence type, and I can look at what that contains, and it will bring me to that point in the video, and it will tell me what was going on. So now that meta tag, that bit of data, is appended to the video and is fully searchable later on. I can also do things like import video from external sources, and I can do that using the process manager. I can have video files, I can have still image files. For instance, here's a video still image file. I can say, you know, this is put a new tag there, and I can say still image, and I can say, you know, parked in front of Sprint store, okay, because that's where I happen to be parked. I can save that meta tag, and now that still image is tagged with that information. Once I'm done with all of my exports, I can close, and the system will ask me, I've made changes that haven't been sent to the repository. Do I want to apply them? Yes. Okay, and yes, I want to send the changes. And now I have the opportunity to export my queue. So if I'm working through many different files, I can sit down, select all the information that I want to export, and then I can say export, and it will go ahead and tell me where do I want to save it. Do I want high resolution, low resolution, and high resolution, or both? Do I want to generate an evidence checksum to, in other words, save that the copy that I'm making can be compared to the original and proved to be true? I can watermark the video. I can say what the watermark is. This is evidence, and so I'm watermarking what I'm exporting, and that will be overlaid onto the video. I can export. I can put the export log in there. I can generate metadata output file, which is equivalent to the video file, and I can tell it where to save the video. I can tell it how to include the file names. I can use security settings from the original file. And once I tell it to start the export, it's going to go through and export all of the files that I selected in my export queue. And you can see that it's working through all of the files, and now it's complete. It's videoed, watermarked all of the files, and now I have a full export. The whole evidence case manager system works with cloud or tape-based storage. It will automatically retrieve the video from tape. The user doesn't have to know where it is or how to manipulate it. Basically, this is a very simple, very flexible tool that officers can use to be able to search and find evidence, save it for trial, save it for export. They can send it to the DA. They can send it to the defendant's lawyers. They can do whatever they need to do with the video, and the system is very simple and easy to use. And that's basically how all of our systems work, from source ingest and capturing the video from the camera, transferring the video, and then saving the video and retrieving it from storage. Thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions, contact us at hotspot.net. That would be sales@hotspot.net, or call us at 805-541-9477, and we'd be happy to assist you. Thank you.